As soon as you graduate from managing and leading your own project in which you are the entire resource pool, you're going to have to manage a team. So in this video, I want to share with you 5 of my top tips for project team leadership. Tip 1. At the outset, your team will need clear direction in order to thrive. But as the team matures and people better understand their roles, then they will need less direction and will need you more to leave them to get on with their jobs and do a good job on their own. Because at the start of your project, people really don't know what you expect of them. You need to set out clear role allocations and you need to describe clearly what people need to do to make a contribution to the project. But gradually they will understand what they're doing, they will understand what their colleagues are doing, they will build relationships, and they will be better able to get on with the job. And it comes to the point where if you then tell people what to do, they will resent it. It will stifle their creativity, it will rob them of the feeling that they're in control of their own work, and it will demotivate them. So as your team evolves, so your leadership style needs to evolve to reduce the amount of control and direction that you give your team members. Tip number 2. Support team relationship building when it's needed, and then get out of the way. Because a successful team will look after itself, they will collaborate spontaneously, and they will care for each other. But at the early stages, when your team is coming together and we've got past the point of being nervous of one another, you will start to find that people will assert their personalities and the more dominant individuals will try to take control. They will look for the best roles within the team, and that might mean that they are prepared to trample upon some of the less confident, less extroverted, less pushy people. So you do need to involve yourself not only in defending your right to lead the team, but also making sure that the more assertive personalities don't go too far and act disrespectfully to other people. And once the team gets a clear idea of what it's doing, you also have a role to play in making sure that individual team members get to know each other's capabilities. You introduce them to one another and make sure that they work together effectively. So this productive relationship building is an important part of your leadership style during the earlier stages of team building. But once the team matures, once again, you don't need to get involved in every discussion. You don't need to resolve every conflict between people because your team members will do that for themselves. It's an important part of a well-functioning team that individuals will care for one another and they will collaborate spontaneously. Tip number 3. Never underestimate the impact that your demeanour will have on the team around you. Because we all want to take cues from the people around us. It's built into our wiring. If the people around us are miserable, then we become miserable. If the people around us are happy, then we become happy. And disproportionately, we take cues from the people we look up to within our social group, which means that you, as a project team leader, will have a bigger impact on the mood of the team than anyone else. Which means that going into work each day, it doesn't matter what's been going on, how bad your journey was. When you walk into the office, put on your game face. Be confident, be positive, be enthusiastic. If you do that, then that will translate itself to the people around you. If, on the other hand, you've had a bad journey to work and you go in grumpy and miserable, guess what? You'll end up with a grumpy, miserable, sullen team that will not be as productive nor as effective as it could otherwise be. Tip number 4. Intrinsic motivators will trump extrinsic motivators every time. So what do I mean by that? Well, extrinsic motivators are the motivators that come from outside ourselves, bonuses and rewards and pay. They're great. But what really rewards work, particularly people working on projects who are enthusiastic to do a good job, are the things that come from within themselves, the intrinsic motivators. A sense of purpose, a meaning to what we're doing. A sense of being in control of our work, of autonomy, the ability to do what we choose to do in the way we choose to do it as much as possible. And the ability to grow and develop our skills and become really good at what we're doing, and a pride in mastering our craft. Those are the things that really motivate us well. And somewhere in between intrinsic motivators on the inside and extrinsic motivators on the outside are the social motivators, which are also very important in a team, because a team is a social structure. And the three social motivators are, firstly, relationships. And let's face it, many of us spend more of our waking hours with our project team colleagues than we do with our families and loved ones. And secondly, there's recognition by our colleagues for the work that we do and the contribution that we make. And third, there's respect. Feeling we are respected by our colleagues and we have a sense of status within the team is important. And you, as team leader, have a part to play in all three of those. In building a relationship with your team members because they will value that relationship, because they will value you. In recognizing what contributions each team member has made to your project, and in giving respect and status to each of your colleagues. And tip number 5 is to give feedback to your team members in an effective manner. I like to think that feedback can give each team member a real boost. And boost stands for balanced. And balanced means that you need to get an appropriate balance between critical and confirmatory feedback. And often the appropriate balance is weighted well in favour of confirmatory feedback, feedback that endorses what people are doing. Yes, you do sometimes need to put people right, to give them criticism and to show them how to do things better. But you know what? That's great for moving people from being unable to do something to being able to do it. But if you want to move somebody from being able to do something to doing it exceptionally well, that's when positive feedback that endorses what they're doing well and highlights it really helps people to develop. The first O of boost stands for observed. Make sure that your feedback is based on direct observation, on real evidence. Ideally on observations that you've made and observed yourself. But certainly reported observations from a trusted third party or colleague are valuable too. And the other O stands for objective. And what I mean by objective is your feedback needs to be about what people have done and how they have done it, rather than subjective feedback about them. Let's give you an example, firstly, of critical feedback. Subjective critical feedback is, you can't write a good report. Objective critical feedback is, this report is not good enough. And confirmatory feedback. Subjective feedback is, you're great at writing reports. Objective feedback is, this report is a really excellent example of a report. Focus your feedback on the behaviours, because that's what you can observe and that's what you can know about. You can't know whether someone is good at writing reports or bad at writing reports, because that's inside them. S stands for specific. It's very hard for me to amend my behaviour if you are not specific enough about what I've done well that I need to do more of, or what I've done poorly that I need to change. And finally, T stands for timely. Feedback should be as soon as possible, but no sooner. don't give feedback at an inappropriate time. But as soon as you can, as near to the event as you can, give the feedback so that people can relate it to their own personal experience from fresh memory. These 5 tips are taken from our Kindle exclusive ebook, How to Lead a Great Project Team. In it, you'll find a compilation of 5 valuable chapters. Get better results from your team with Tuckman, which looks at the Tuckman model of group development. What you need to know about building a great project team. Boost your project team performance with these hacks. Everything you need to know about project team motivation. And great team communication, the 10 commandments. So take a look at How to Lead a Great Project Team. I'll put links in the description below to where you can take a look at it. And you might also be interested in my book, Brilliant Project Leader, published by Pearson, which you can buy in print or in ebook format. Leading your project team is one of the most important things you can do because they are going to be delivering the project for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe to the channel because I'll be producing loads more great content, and why not hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.